Hola clase, hoy vamos a hablar sobre el presente progresivo. An example of the presente progresivo is ¿qué están haciendo?, which is what are you all doing, or what are they doing? Present progressive is pretty simple. So what is the present progressive and what are the uses? It describes action in progress. That's a hint from progressive. Things that are currently progressing are currently happening. The action is happening at the time it's being described. So it's happening now. In English, we use a verb to be plus the ing. So like I am eating or we are reading, things like that. I am walking, they are dancing. So we use this special form of to be, whichever specific form we need. I am, you are, they are, and then we add an ing onto the end of our verb. In Spanish, it's really similar. The first part of the progressive is estar, which is our verb that means to be. Estar will match the subject. So if it's I am doing something, we're going to use estoy. Tú estás. Él, ella, usted está. Nosotros estamos. Vosotros estáis. And ustedes, ellos están. We sing that little song to remember it. The estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. That's the song that we use to memorize the forms of a star, just in case we've forgotten and we needed a refresher. Okay, formation of the present progressive. A star plus the present participle. Okay, so we already talked about a star, and the present participle is kind of a fancy way of saying that ing verb. Present participle is super easy to form. For an AR verb, you take the stem of the verb, which is everything except for the ending. So for hablar, it would be habla. For comer, it would be come. And we add either ando if it's an AR verb, or yendo if it's an ER-IR verb. Okay, so we have to worry about two things, estar and then the ando or yendo. So I would have hablando for talking and comiendo for eating and abriendo for opening. So if I wanted to say I am talking, I would just say estoy hablando. We are eating, estamos comiendo. They are opening, ellos están abriendo. Changes in the present participle. Okay, these are the irregulars. So you're going to want to put these under usage notes. I am reading. Hopefully you can look at that L-E-I-E-N-D-O, and look at it and go, there's no way that we would pronounce that correctly in Spanish. So what we would do is take that I and turn it into a Y. So if you have an I between two vowels, like an E-I-E, you're going to want to turn it into a Y. So instead of that crazy looking triple vowel, we have an L-E-Y-E-N-D-O, which looks a lot better and it's a lot easier to pronounce. Keep an eye out for leer, creer, oír, and caer. These are the ones that you're going to see with that triple vowel in the middle, the E-I-E. There are others, but these are going to be the most common to watch out for. Okay, so here are some more changes that we're going to make when dealing with the present progressive. AR and ER stem changing verbs do not make a change. Okay, so anytime you see an AR and ER verb, you will not have to stem change. So almorzar stays the same, no change in the present participle, so it would just be almorzando. Entender, which is usually an E to IE changer, will have no change. It will end up being entendiendo. So anytime there's a verb that ends in AR and ER, you know you won't have to stem change it. But IR stem changing verbs do make a change. But it's not going to be the normal change that we're used to. It's kind of going to be like what we talked about in preterite. E goes to I and O goes to U. So we don't do the IE, we do the E to I, and we don't do the O to UE, we do O to U. So pedir, I am asking, will be estoy pidiendo. This year we are saying estamos diciendo. Dormir, you are sleeping, estás durmiendo. Using pronouns with the present progressive, reflexive pronouns, you're going to attach them. Yo estoy bañándome is our first option. Okay, and reflexive pronouns are the me, te, se, nos, os, se that we use when we're doing something to ourselves, like a lot of our getting ready verbs, like I'm bathing or I am showering. So that was our first option, was to attach. So you have to make sure that if you're going to attach at the end of the participle, you have to add the accent, okay? The second option is to put it in front of the conjugated form of a star. I think this is a little bit easier, especially since you don't have to mess with accents, but you can feel free to do it however you want. Either way is grammatically correct. So whatever you want to do is fine. Just make sure that you're putting it in one or the other, either attaching or putting it in front of the conjugated form of a star. Yo me estoy bañando. Like I said, when you attach the reflexive pronoun to the participle, you must write an accent mark over that participle, so over the ando or yendo, depending on what kind of verb you're using. Okay, so reflexive pronouns can either go attached to the end or in front of the conjugated form of a star. So these are some practice questions to see if you get it. ¿Qué está haciendo María? Ella está bailando. So she is dancing. ¿Qué estáis haciendo vosotros? Oh, nosotros estamos cantando. So what are you all doing? We are singing. ¿Qué está haciendo él? Él está hablando por teléfono con sus amigos is an optional with his friends. Okay? So we're conjugating a star to match who's doing it. So él está, and we're adding the ando to mean the ing participle. ¿Qué estás haciendo tú? Yo estoy pensando. ¿Qué estoy haciendo yo? Tú estás escribiendo una composición para la clase de español. ¿Qué está haciendo María? María está durmiendo. Dormir is usually an OTUE stem changer, and it's an IR verb, so that reminds me that I'm going to have to stem change. But instead of doing that O to UE, I just have an O to U or an E to I option. So it's going to be an O to U, durmiendo. ¿Qué estás haciendo, Pedro? Pedro está leyendo. That would originally have been an I, but remember we can't have that EIE ending. It has to be an EYE. ¿Qué están haciendo ellos? Ellos están jugando el fútbol americano. And jugar is usually a U to UE stem changer, but we don't mess with it because it's not an AR or it's not an IR verb. ¿Qué están haciendo los estudiantes? Los estudiantes están almorzando en la cafetería. You see here that we left that O because it's an AR verb, so we don't need to stem change. Or you could say los estudiantes están comiendo pizza. ¿Qué está haciendo la camarera? What's the waitress doing? La camarera está sirviendo el vino. That's an IR verb, so we're going to stem change it to an I. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Yo estoy bañándome, or yo me estoy bañando. ¿Qué está haciendo él? Él está afeitándose, he's shaving, or él se está afeitando. Whichever one you want to do is fine. They are both grammatically correct. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Yo estoy vistiéndome. Okay? So I'm getting dressed. You see if that accent goes on the participle and I attach the me, or you could say yo me estoy vistiendo. Another thing to keep in mind about vestir is it's a stem changer. It's an IR verb, so that I and vestir is going to go to an I. ¿Qué está haciendo la chica? Ella se está peinando. Ella está peinándose. Either or is fine. ¿Qué estoy haciendo? Tú estás despertándote, or tú te estás despertando. Remember that red, the thing that's in red, the te, the reflexive pronoun, needs to match who's ever doing it, right? And it doesn't stem change because it's an AR verb. Okay, that's everything. If you have any questions, make sure that you let me know. Have a great evening. Adios.